the Kanawha Valley, I think, since 2000 has produced some of the more better names, I guess you could say. I guess that's a very broad and open-ended statement, but at the same time, you look back at the names that the Kanawha Valley has produced, and my oh my, has it produced some wonderful names, including my guest today. So, without further ado, let's begin episode 104 of Hoops Across the Mountain State. Again, I'm your host, Taylor Kennedy. Thank you all for joining me. However, you may be listening or watching this podcast. Thank you all for joining me. You can follow me on Twitter at Taylor_Kennedy7 for all the latest about this podcast. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube as well. Well, like I said, there have been a lot of great names across the Kanawha Valley that have come out and done tremendous and big things for not only the state and the valley, but also just for their community and just for their school as well. So I am delighted to be joined by Josh Miller, better known as Cookie Miller for a lot of people. So I'll have to figure out all of that detail here in just a second, but let's welcome him in now. Cookie, welcome to the program.
What's up, man? Hey, it's an honor, man, to even be on your show. Man, I'm very appreciative of it, man. A lot of people kind of forget what I did. They'll never forget the name. The Cookie. But a lot of these kids and a lot of these generations have never really seen me play. So to be on here, man, it's an honor to kind of reminisce about the old days, man.
Absolutely. Well, before I get into your bio, I got to ask, do you want to go by Josh or do you want to go by Cookie? Either way is fine with me. I want to make sure.
Whatever you want to call me, man, I'm totally used to it. How that even came about, my nickname is originally Josh or whatnot because my dad's name is Cookie. So everybody in my family call him Cookie, and they call me Josh because that's a family name, and Cookie just kind of stick with just remembering, and it's just kind of different to call someone Cookie or whatnot. So either one is good with me, man. I'm cool with it, man.
Now, if I just heard you correctly, you just said that Cookie is a family name that has been passed down because you just mentioned your dad, and obviously you adopted the nickname as well. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, man. My dad actually is Big Cookie, and I'm Little Cookie. So, like I said, my dad is well known in the community or whatnot. He used to play basketball back in the day, and he was real good or whatnot. So it really just got passed down from his friends and the generation of where he came from or whatnot, and it got passed down, and I ran with it.
So what you're telling me is, if I were to go to Great American Cookie, if it was still in the mall, right across, like literally right behind the escalator, I remember this. You go there. They got the different cookies. So you're saying your dad's the big cookie, and then you're like the little cookie that you see that had like maybe like the Sesame Street character on it or whatnot. You'd be like the Cookie Monster.
Yeah, for sure, man. Actually, man, if you was to come down here to the neighborhood, man, people know my dad more than they know me. They'll be like, Cookie, you like Cookie Miller, whatchamacallit, what whoop de whoop? Nah, the son, the basketball player, man. So that's how well known my dad is known around here, man. And like I said, it was an honor just carrying his name and me not actually really even getting to see him play, and people still to this day talk about him, man, how good he was or whatnot. So it's an honor, like I said, to even carry the name and to being able to do some of the things that I did do with the name.
Absolutely. Well, I guess first and foremost, I guess whoever had Great American Cookie on their bingo sheet, congratulations, you have just claimed your prize. Please go to the window and get that. But anyway, my man, let's get into your bio a little bit, because I didn't go through this to begin with, but it's so in depth and it's so worth noting. So let's get into it really quick. So you played 3 seasons at Capital. You were an honorable mention at Bishop Donahue before you transferred to Capital. You were the 2005 Bill Evans Award winner, which is given to the top boys basketball player in the state. You were a 3-time college AAA first-team selection, including being a captain your senior season. You averaged 18 points or more from your sophomore season to your senior season. And you started your collegiate career playing 2 seasons at Nebraska before coming back home and playing for the Yellow Jackets of West Virginia State. You became the second Cornhusker in school history to record 100 assists your freshman and sophomore season, and you would later join, like I said, West Virginia State, and you helped them reach number 12 in the country in the 09-10 season. You averaged 20 points, 5 rebounds in your first season with Brian Poor's team, and you all would eventually go on to win the WVIAC later on that season. You also joined Brian Poor's staff as an assistant coach later on in your career. You are now the founder of the travel basketball team for Mayo, and we'll get into that obviously. And you also founded the Second Avenue Summer Basketball League. So we'll get into all of that. Believe me, we'll try and get into as much as possible. But believe me, this is going to be a fun discussion. So let's get right into it, my man. So you had mentioned how the community side of people knowing your dad and then knowing you as you continued on through your prep career, going to Capital, playing 3 seasons, being very successful there as well. But when you look at your childhood, being able to be brought up by your dad, like you said, a very successful basketball player, what was that like for you, being able to, work and, develop your game alongside your dad? What was that bond and relationship like at such an early age?
Man, my mom is well known too around the community, so she was a major part of my life as well too, though. But my dad is more so familiar with the sport. A lot of people can talk the same language with you in sports. Everywhere. So China, all of it. When you playing sports, it's kind of pretty much the same language when you talking about basketball. But me growing up, man, on the west side of Charleston and growing up in Washington Manor, it was rough. But at the same time, though, and I tell all my little homies, man, and the kids around, it takes a village. It takes a village to be able to raise anybody's kid. And by my dad being well known, it was just a respect level, man. If I was doing something wrong, you best believe he's gonna find out about it. So that was the beauty, like I said, with them in the community. A lot of bad things did or whatnot, but that kind of happens when you got poverty and people just trying to provide for themselves. You're gonna have different type of problems. That's anywhere you go in the country, man. I done been in Poland and the same. Some things to where it's like, man, if you homeless over there, man, you really don't have any. And not to talk about homeless people, but homeless people has a lot of resources. And me, by doing the resources and trying to give people some help, I found out that it's a lot of resources around to help the homeless or whatnot. But in Poland, man, once you out, man, you out, man. Ain't no resources, man. So that led me just a different type of horizon and a different type of outlook on all of it, though, man, with just having a better perspective about people and just moving in a certain way, man. And my dad is one of the ones, man, who helped me do that, to carry yourself with a standard.
When you look at the west side of Charleston, there always seems to be a handful or even more in regards to tremendous athletes, and the two sports that immediately come to mind are football and basketball. But looking back on your childhood, and you continue to be an influence in that community, how have you seen the west side of Charleston grow since your time as, running around as a 7-8-year-old to now being a part of the Second Avenue, being a founder of that as well, that league down there? What's the growth been like down there in that west side community?
I made it a point, and that was something within me. I really, and this is not no knock on any of my bigger homies or whatnot, but a lot of my bigger homies wasn't playing or went to a higher level like of college and played or NBA or any of that. So some of my big homies out of the street game than anything, which helped me in today's life of being able to be far from street, but understand it though, man, and having a respect for it. I would say, man, that void of me not being able to call one of my big homies that's been through it, like the college side of things and even on the professional side of things. And social media helped that out a lot. But anybody has came up after me, from Aaron Dobson to John Ilmore to Derek Pitts to Anthony Pittman to Rand Rush, Dorian Etheridge. I can go on and name anybody that's came through the Kanawha Valley or in the Charleston area or wherever. I've reached out to them and made it a point to them to let them know, hey man, if you have any questions about anything or hey, it's a grind. If they going through a slump or anything, I've always been accessible, and that's something that I take pride in, man. And this is not bragging. This is something that I take pride in doing, and that's a number of reasons of why I started up the AAU program of Mayo. It really started out as just a mentoring shit with me just checking up on the kids, just making sure they good without the sport of basketball or whatnot. Then I went into training or whatnot, some of the kids, and then it kind of just took off with me partnering with a couple of people that I'm like my brothers to take over the basketball program that I trust and wouldn't mind leaving them that. So Buddy Scott, he runs the Fineo basketball side of things or whatnot, and it's a blessing, man, to have some of the people around me now, though, man, to be able to do things like that, though, man. But I made it a point to myself, and I will continue to make that point to myself, man, to always look out for the next generation to come up under me. I done been through some things. I done went, a couple places. Basketball took me only two places that I have not been and actually played back. So that's been a blessing. It's not really too many people can say that they have been here, been there, been there. Actually, it's not really for free, but playing a game of basketball, man, and me getting to see different cities and different cultures and different things, man. Just looking back on things, man, it's a blessing to be able to tell my kids these things.
You had mentioned something about what ultimately created, or the root, I should say, of creating Fineo, and that is you were looking out for these younger generations and bringing them up as well. Where do you think that leadership quality, or even that trait of yours that you possess, where do you think that came from?
It definitely came from my father and my mother as well. We wasn't in the best living conditions of growing up on the west side, but you would have never been able to tell everything that ever happened that was kind of tragic. It always stayed in house. That's where the loyalty come and just the commitment to the loved ones within your own household and everybody. No matter where you at, no matter how much money you have, everybody in the world has problems, but it's on how you bounce back from it and how you have the outlook and the perspective of dealing with whatever you're dealing with. Because there's people in this world that's going through way worse, and there's people in this world that's going through way less. So just balancing out life, and that was my whole thing of just having that mentoring shit, man. If you had somebody to actually talk to about it, I think it will relieve a lot of pressure off that kid and want him to do better. So that's one thing that I wish that I did have, and my dad did give me that. But like I know, just hearing it from somebody that actually went to a D1 college or went to the pros, that would have meant a lot more to me. But my dad gave me, all the motivation that I needed. It was never a game that I might have had 40. Oh, well, you should have done this or you should have done that. So just always just kept me down to earth and humble in all the ways. Even now though, like when the kids come up to me like, bro, was you really that good? It's hard for me to even kind of express that to the kid just off on who I am. That's why I always ask them, man, just ask around, man. And that's one thing my dad installed in me. Hey, if you're doing your part, you won't have to say nothing, man. The people will talk for you.
That's such a great quality and such a great saying as well, because I think that can also be applied off the court. I guess since we're talking basketball, that could definitely be applied off the court as well. But no, I definitely agree with you in that standpoint. So okay, so let's talk about your basketball career then, and let's start with we're gonna go big and we're gonna go small. So let's start here and let's stay along the lines of the Kanawha Valley, because I'm looking at this Class AAA field of first team All Staters from the 04-05 season. And again, you were the captain of that. You had a sophomore, Patrick Patterson from Huntington, Josh Daniel, who is now the head coach at South Charleston. He was a first team All State selection, averaging 25 points per game that season. Adam Fletcher from St. Albans, who averaged 21 points per game. And then you go down Ben Atkins as well, a senior average 15 points per game as well. So you could already tell by the way that you guys were established in the Kanawha Valley that, and I'll ask you this, do you think that from just throughout the test of time that the Kanawha Valley has and will continue to produce the most high level production in regards to athletes, just not basketball?
Man, that class you just named, man, it's crazy. All them guys went D1. Like, so looking back, I didn't really look at it like that, man. Cause I mean, when you kind of get caught up in, especially the now of just living wise and things, you kind of really don't get time to reminisce about some of them things or whatnot, man. But dang, that's a tough group, man. Them guys that you named, man. Fletcher going to Miami of Ohio. Ben went to if I'm not mistaken, I want to say Elon, and then I know Josh Daniels went to Eastern, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so them number of guys, man, of even going D1, even nowadays, kind of trickle down to where you might get your one and your two guys that's going to D1 out of the Valley or whatnot. And I think this year was McNeely, him going, and I think I seen another guy out in Montgomery, not Montgomery, but Morgantown. Is he going D1?
Oh, are you talking about Sharon Young?
I'm not for sure. I don't want to put a name on it.
No, you're good. You're good. I mean, I'll just say it like this: Morgantown has produced a lot of Division I talent over the years, so it could be anybody.
Man. Yeah.
But no, I completely agree with you from that standpoint. But okay, so when you look at let's say it like this: looking at the matchups that you had against these players and these teams at Capital High School. I mean, I just mentioned 4 or 5 names right there, but obviously that can be expanded. But when you look at the games within the Kanawha Valley, what were those games like for you during your high school career?
Oh man, playing against Adam Fletcher, Josh Daniels, all them games sold out. Like all of them, man. It wasn't a seat. Hold on, I'm sorry. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay, it wasn't a seat in the building, and you had to get there during the JV time. So that was the beauty in just playing in the Kanawha Valley, man. At that time, though, man, you got this whole city, I mean, to support, from your South Charleston to your St. Albans, and I mean everywhere. Even you can even go down to GW. Even when we played Patrick Patterson, there, man, the venue was always, man, it was a sight to see and a sight to play in, man. It'll bring a different type of animal out of you, man. That's one thing I kind of raved about, man. The more people there was just that impression, like not comparing myself to Jordan whatsoever, but that saying what Jordan was saying, man, this might be the last time or the first time somebody ever get to see me play. So just to try to leave them with some type of impression, like, man, did you see that? Or did you feel me? So just having that in the back of my head, but also wanting to win and play the game the right way was something that Josh Daniels' dad actually installed in me as a young age, man. I tell you a little story, man, about Josh Daniels. I actually played Westside All-Star Biddy Ball with Josh, and he was younger than us, but our team was, man, it was me, Clint Frazier, TJ Douglas, Josh Daniels, Chase Kefford. I don't know if you remember Chase Kefford. He went to GW or whatnot. We had Roy Welch, Lee Mitchell. Man, we had so many guys. Brian Shepard. We lost one game from 4th grade, 5th grade to 6th grade ever. Like ever, man. And back then, I don't know how it was where you actually from, but where I'm from, man, the Westside All-Stars, you might have 3 tournaments one weekend. You might be playing in a Whitfield All-Star tournament, plus the West Side's tournament is going on. Then you got to go all the way to East Bank. So we was kind of tripling up on them Sundays. Hey, that's Trophy Sunday for us, baby. It's Trophy Sunday. You might bring home 3 to 4 to 5 trophies if you got MVP, all tournament, and you won. So some of them, and really kind of pretty much not to brag on it. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, a lot of them, man, I kind of doubled up and came home with 6 trophies on Sunday, man, sometimes 9. So that's the beauty in it, how I was last year. And that's really the bulk of my trophies, man. I got a number of trophies, man, from West Side All-Stars and Biddy Ball All-Stars, man. I let my kids sometimes come in. I got a little man cave. I let them come in sometimes and kind of see it. I don't like that stuff to kind of be out and about because I don't want them to have an expectation on me. I want them to live their life. I want them to have their own. I want them to you would never have to meet any type of thing that I did. That was my life. That's what I chose to do. So if you don't meet them type of accolades when it comes down to the sports side of things, man, I really don't care less. As long as you're a good citizen, you're doing good in school, and a product of me and living right, man. Hey, you can get the world.
So you talked about that relationship with Josh Daniels. So let's continue that relationship with the two of you. Obviously, you guys go back a long ways, but when you look at that relationship that continues to grow each and every year, I don't know what that relationship looks like now, but when you look at that bond between you and Josh, what's that like for you?
Oh man, we can talk about basketball, man, all day long, man, all day long. So he actually got a couple of the Fineo kids or whatnot that him and Buddy Scott was able, you feel me, to connect and bond with, and they actually talk on a regular or whatnot, just about different type of things or whatnot. But Josh Daniels know my line is always open to him, and he know that's vice versa. So his dad, man, really installed a lot of just fundamental things in me, man, of being able to go to Nebraska and remember. I mean, man, that man, Coach Doc Saller probably had over 60 to 70 plays, man, to where it's 4 or 5 options off of just the one play, man. So I did a lot of studying, a lot of film work, which I thank my assistant coach who actually really recruited me, Anwar, of just being on me and helping me understand the offense to where it was automatic to me, man. And that helped me of being a coach as well too, to be on top of things like that though, man. But Coach Daniels installed a lot of fundamentally sound things. And of course my dad, but when you get that from a coach or whatnot, and then you playing the game and he's telling you do this and do that, and it actually worked as a young age, man, that helped me out so much, man, of having him install them qualities in me as a young age.
So let's continue talking about your time at Capital, because again, you were a 3-time first-team All-State selection. You averaged 18 or more points from your sophomore season to your senior season. When you look back at your career, what part of your game do you think you felt was the biggest or your biggest strength that you knew that whenever you were taking a guy one-on-one, okay, I know I can take him in a different way compared to what he has going against me?
I would say my vision, and that kind of came, like I said, with Coach Daniels. But my dad though is not paying attention to the guy that's guarding you, paying attention where the help's coming from, the back end of things. So me having that attribute and being able to comprehend that as a young age, I never looked at the first defender. I looked at I can always get past him, but where's the help coming from? Where is this? So kind of like that saying of seeing a play before it even happened. I would say that was kind of my biggest strength of anything though, man. And using my size as not a disadvantage, but as an advantage. You bring that thing down, hey, I'm running with it, man. You better keep it up. You better keep it up there. Them bigs, they knew if it came down to my world, man, hey, I was gonna get that cheese, man.
So you, from what I've heard, because I asked numerous people, because I obviously was too young, because I would have been 6 by the time you graduated college. So sorry for making you feel old, but I would have been
Nah,
6
it's all good.
when you graduated high school. But I had to ask a few different people about, what was Cookie like in high school and this in college as well. We'll get to that here in just a second. But they said the biggest thing that they saw was your ability to take on the one-on-one, but then also behind that, know what you like, exactly what you just said. You see the help guy, you see the guy on the side, they're coming in as well to form almost like a pack line, because they knew if there was a mismatch, you would go either which direction, and boom, there you go. So my question to you about that would be, where do you think you learned that? Obviously, the vision part of it, you mentioned came from Coach Daniel, Josh Daniels' father, but the growth had to have come from somewhere, and the motivation to continue to do that had to have come from somewhere as well. Where do you think you can attribute that to?
My neighborhood, man. Hey, street basketball. I don't know if you ever heard of the game of 32.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
okay, man. So that really came from that, with playing 32 on Second Avenue and at the Martin Luther King Center, which is close to Washington Manor. I mean, it can be from 10 people playing to 20 people playing to 30 people playing, and you're by yourself. So you might not, me being little, it was hard for me to go in there and just get a rebound. So me kind of hide behind people, and then hey, you turn your back, then I get the ball, and hey, when you get the ball, you better make it count. So of going on a streak to where you scoring maybe 16 straight or 12 straight and this, that, and the third. But it all came, I say, man, from the game of 32, man. Of you couldn't look just at that one defender, because it was always a double team and somebody right there to stop you or whatnot. So the qualities of playing against some of these guys that kind of never made it out, that was, I mean, tough. That was tough, older than me. I'm not gonna speak on names or whatnot. That they know who they are on the west side of Charleston and in Washington Manor. Though, I say that quality came from there, man. You always had to have your eyes open, man, because hey, you'll be getting your shot thrown, or you'll be getting somebody be coming behind you, picking you. So just having that quality of the vision, man, of that 50-50, seeing everything around you or whatnot, I say that would come from my neighborhoods.
Okay, go back to what you just said. Second Avenue basketball. In my last episode, I had Mike Jones, who played at Charleston High School. He was like he was a tremendous player as well. He was a first-team All-State for a few years. Went on to play at Cincinnati for Coach Gail Catlin in the '70s. But he talked about playing basketball in Second Avenue and just being able to grow up watching these guys play. Then you mentioned in a different neighborhood, in a different area, seeing Jerry West play as well, at a young age as well. So my question to you is, it seems like Second Avenue, and you even, again, you founded a Second Avenue Summer League, so we'll get to that down the road, but don't say that for later. But when you mentioned playing at Second Avenue, growing up to actually playing in it, what's the differences in it? And then if you could give us a few names that people from the Kanawha Valley can, look back and be like, wow, I have not heard that name in a long time.
Oh man, Wayne Casey, Greg Dennis, Robert Lee Sanders. Oh man, you can. I mean, Moo Gaines. Moo Gaines actually still play, man, and he's 40 plus, man, and still handing out 20 pieces, like still. So, a number of them guys, kind of installed in me though, man. No matter where you at, and hey, let's play. I don't care if it's the national championship game, or like I said, we here at the Second Avenue Center. And I say Cuddy Summer Madness played a major role in me playing too, though, man. It was a league out at Shawnee. Cuddy's forte, it was over it. I actually got to play at a young age, man, with Wayne Casey, Robert Lee Sanders, Greg Dennis. I mean, a number of them guys kind of installed in me as a young age too, and held me accountable when I was young. I mean, it might be 2 minutes on the clock and we up 2 points. And I come down and throw this behind the back pass. It completes, but what are you doing? Like, bro, just make that basic pass. Just the understanding of that, understanding time, understanding situations, and all that, man. Them guys also, you feel me, installed in a lot in me. And that's what with social media, I wish that we had that back then. I mean, because I really didn't get to really talk to them guys outside of me playing with them. So I think if I could have beat their brain up a little more, maybe I didn't have to go to this prep school. You feel me? Maybe I didn't have to take that route. Maybe I didn't leave Nebraska, of just having somebody there that kind of understood what I was going through at the time before I did transferring and wanting to come back home and things like that. So that's just kind of what I look back on it and wish that I would have had. But the qualities of man, street basketball, man, hey, you can get a lot from it. But on the backside of things, a lot of people that play street basketball can't accommodate that to organized basketball because it's a lot that play in it. Help side offense, remembering the plays, just assignments, having a role, knowing your role, and really running with your role and not just trying to be just that man. And sometimes in straight basketball, hey, everybody want to be the man. So that's the difference, I would say, man, just in the qualities of organized basketball and street basketball is just falling in love with your role, man, and really living in it.
You've been able to promote the Second Avenue Summer League through social media over the last few years. Obviously, I've been keeping up lately, but when you just mentioned how if social media was big back then, that would have helped you. But take it from another angle. How big do you think these guys would be, especially the guys that you played with in high school, if social media were to be around, around the early to mid 2000s? What would that have been like?
Oh man, not to brag. I wish Capital had better quality in some of the games that I got, man, to where I just put it out there and just let you see it for itself, man. I was able to create a lot of great moments though of Capital that I'm very honored and privileged to say though, man, of just the excitement. And that was the time when I was growing up was and1 basketball was out. So that was the kind of the street mega of New York basketball, and people was coming in from all over the world to actually play at Rucker Park. And they actually had different series of and1 tapes that actually come out. We couldn't get on YouTube and Google this. We had to wait for that tape to come out. So once that tape come out, man, I'm talking about I used to be glued, like glued, man, to that TV. And immediately I'm going to the porch, I'm going to the court, and I'm practicing these moves for hours. And some of them that was legal that I was able to actually do in some of these games, man. And just the response of the crowd, man, was a sight for me and gave me a different feel on a lot of things.
Let's talk about Capital. And when you just mentioned how you sort of touched on it, but your love for Capital High School seems to be a lot deeper than I think a lot of people know. So if you could put into words or put into context what your time at Capital High School meant for you during that, the early phases of what would ultimately become a successful basketball career.
Um, I would say, man, more so for me, it would be like off the court, like of of having some of these changes and some things that the outside world or the outside people that don't necessarily go to Capital on, some things that these kids have to deal with. In my time, I mean, it was a number of just drugs that was out there and just more open with hand to hand dealings, like all the way open. So just going to the bus stop and even going to school, man, it was a sight to see or whatnot. Now the CPD has cleaned up a lot as far as with that or whatnot, and they've done a great job in doing that. But like I said, coming in my era, it would have to be the off the court, and that's why I say it took a village. It took a village to a lot of my big homies kept me out the way. That me and my friends and some of the things that they might have been kind of grew up on, and some things that's kind of what all they knew, but they didn't allow me and some of my friends to take that route. And that's why I am who I am today. I'm just trying to be that big homie or that big uncle or whatever you want to call me, man, just to make sure that kid is okay or that kid feel comfortable with coming to tell me that, hey, I might not be eating at home, or this, hey man, you got a couple dollars? I'm hungry. So I mean, just little stuff like that, man. I take honor and I take pride in doing it and providing for my community, man. That's one thing I will. Hey, I fight for my community, man, in public and wherever. I kind of stay to myself a lot, man, when it come down to just personal things and just going through a lot. I'm a personal guy, but when it come down to my community, man, I'm hands on with that, man. Just because I remember myself when I see them kids, I see me.
I know we keep talking. We're trying to talk about basketball. You keep bringing up so many different things about you that I find so fascinating. And you just mentioned the community side of things because I follow you on social media, and I don't think I'm being very honest when I say this. I don't think I've ever seen somebody talk about their community that is not a political figure as much as you do. So, from the community side of things, why continue to promote a community? I understand the importance of it, but in your eyes, as you continue to do it at a high rate, what the how would you say? Let me say it like this: what would you say the
Hold on,
importance?
I'm going in my house right now, man. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Got off the road.
Yeah, you're good. But with the importance of the community, and put in the words, why continue to promote a community like that?
Man, as far as with my community, I'm thinking some things that I'm not proud of, but some things that was just out of my control of me even trying to understand it at a young age, though. I just knew that was wrong. And I mean, I just didn't want to engage. I didn't want to engage in some of them things and some of them activities. And like I said, a lot of my big homies, though, they shelter me. They really kept me at a far distance from a lot of things or whatnot. And I'm so blessed. I mean, a number of guys that done some things in their lifetime, but just giving me their wisdom on a lot of things. Man, I wish I wouldn't have done that, or I wish I would have did this, and probably some of them, most of them, better than me basketball court. But just of being interactive with some of these things that they got to, we can go out here and do something. I mean, right now in life, just having, I say, the favor, God's favor, in that with some of these people that I had around in my life. Like I said, I'm truly honored, man, to be who I am and get some of the respect that I do from some of the guys, and how I come off. I'm a respectful dude. I respect lanes. I understand everything that kind of equate, whether it's wrong or it's right. It's still principle to a lot of things in life. So I'm very high level and eye level when it comes down to them things, man. And the main thing is just giving that respect, because I want that respect to come back.
Okay, so let's talk recruiting leading into your time at Nebraska. Recruiting wise, I looked at your recruiting profile and you had some good offers coming out of high school. Along with Nebraska, you had Akron, Xavier, Toledo, and Cleveland State as well. But you had mentioned how when you putting the tapes together and seeing these different and one tapes, you said applying those to your game as well. But recruiting wise in your high school career, put into context, what was that like for you? And, how difficult was it to try and get your name out consistently to these college coaches?
I say for me, man, I really I didn't like going to school, man. And that would just kind of played a part in, I'll say, just loving the game so much. And I think that was my biggest problem of getting recruited was my grades wise. So I don't think I would have had a problem with a coach actually coming to see me and seeing me play if I had grades. Coming up, I did a lot of effort when it came to, and wish I had that understanding. Is going back to what I said of that big homie that actually went through it. Like, my dad never kind of went through it and don't get me wrong, I listened to him. And I mean, I have a degree now. I graduated from college. I'm 7 hours away, and the pandemic kind of did it. We get my master's too, though, man. So it's a blessing. Like I said, I never thought I would have graduated from college, let alone be trying to go get my master's, man. So that's a blessing within itself. In this era, man, just with the resources that they have, sent to Duke, like just with a click of a button, it's just on how you. I mean, it's if a kid actually want to go wherever you want to go, if you put in the work to get there, man, it's a click of a button nowadays, man. Just how this generation and technology is built today is beautiful, but it also can be to some of these kids on how they use it. Like I said, if it and we had it, highlight tapes that I could have put out there, people would have liked it.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you get to Nebraska and you begin your collegiate career. I mentioned how you had over 100 assists your freshman and sophomore season with the Cornhuskers, being one of only a few to ever accomplish something like that. But going back to what I said earlier about what I had heard from people, one person in particular said that that anytime they would be watching Nebraska and Cookie Miller was on the screen, the fans knew what was going to happen and they were rocking. I mean, it seemed like everybody in Nebraska loved your game, loved how you played and everything like that. When you talk about your career at Nebraska, what was the feeling like just being on campus at Nebraska, and what was that homey feeling like for you? Did you feel at home whenever you were playing with the Cornhuskers?
Oh man, it's even now though, man. Just the response I get from the fans and guys that was like you said, that was 6 years old that actually got to actually see me play or graduated. When I was at Nebraska, what man, hey, I can word to me, and that was they took me in, and I'm talking about anywhere from mall to eat to McDonald's. It was always love, man. I kind of dealing with fans, no matter if I had a bad game or what, it was always love, man. And even with me leaving though, man, just to kind of tell you a short story of even when I left, man, it was like people literally crying. And I'm looking at it's like 80-year-old women like literally crying. And some people just ask, what do we have to do to keep you here? Kind of reminiscing on that, because I really don't talk about that much. Kind of bring chills amongst me, man. Just the understanding of the moments when we get in some of these moments, man. We kind of just don't understand how valuable and monument. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get it out, man. But how gravitated it is, man, when you in some of these moments, man, and these colleges that they're diehards. Like they went there, their kids went there. Like you have to go there. Like it's something. It's the way it is in West Virginia. Some people, they're generations that just mountain near just diehards. So that's how it was in Lincoln for me, man. And if I could change it, no, I did just because of the mental part of it. So was transferring, being around my family, playing for friends. Man, we sold out probably every game at West Virginia State. I'm talking, man, it'll be so many family members, friends trying to get tickets. It used to be wild, man, when I came back to West Virginia State, man. So, like I said, just embracing everything that came with basketball, man, and basketball still blessing me. So that's the good thing. Again, and I haven't picked up a ball since 2016. That was my last time playing overseas in 2016, and the game of basketball is still just bringing life into my life.
So, Cookie, going back to Nebraska, you had mentioned how that departure for you could definitely tell was hard on the people around you at the University of Nebraska. But you personally, talk about it a little bit. What led, or why decide to leave Nebraska to come back home to West Virginia?
It became hard, man. My freshman year, going into my freshman year, the lady that I was with, we was expecting a little girl. So I knew that would be tough on me with even having a December baby or January baby as well. That's during season. She actually moved back She moved to Nebraska with me. And by having no help around, no family around, it was tough. And I was young, and I'm a big man on family. And I know family will always be there. I mean, no matter what. So at the time, I looked at the longevity of it and kind of just embracing that moment to secure maybe of getting to the NBA or whatever the case may have been or whatnot. But I looked at family, man, and that's where it came down to, of just wanting to transfer and get back closer to home.
When did Coach Brian Poor come onto the scene for you, and what did he say to you that really brought you into West Virginia State?
I mean, the crazy thing about that, man, Brian Poor, Coach Poor, man, was the first guy to actually not be scared and come to my house on 2nd Avenue. Like, he was the first coach when I was coming out of Capital. This is before me even going to the prep school, but my mind was already made up of going Division I, and I told him to his face, if I was to ever go D2, I definitely would recommend y'all probably would be number 1 on my list. And even leaving Nebraska with this rule now that you can just transfer and automatically play now, I mean, I probably would be at Miami of Ohio, because that's where I normally signed to. And when I came back home, I took a visit while I was in Nebraska, went to Miami of Ohio. Man, they laid out the red carpet for me, man, at Miami of Ohio. It was hard to say no to that. And just being in a conference that they was in and knowing what I accomplished in the Big 12, I know I would have some type of success in that conference. And a number of guys went to the NBA from that coach. So I was looking at that as well too. But it really kind of hit me in reality of, like, are you really going to be able to not play a whole year of basketball, be on a scout team? And I was the only guy. It was 8 players that come in the 2007 class with me in Nebraska, and I was the only guy that didn't get redshirted. So them guys that I came in with in Nebraska, oh man, we get to the dorm, oh, it's no filter, man. I got me running, they got me doing this, they had extra practice, they had to do this, it was a lot on them, man. Like, I seen that firsthand. So me being who I was and just kind of a guy of my surroundings and kind of look at a lot of things and other people on how they go about it, and me not trying to do the same thing. I looked at that and was like, man, I don't know if I'll be able to sit out a whole year and actually just be the water boy. Like I said, you got to be on scout team. You got to remember their plays. And on top of that, you got to remember your own plays too when it's time for you to get out there. So I know that was tough on them guys. And just like I said, looking back on it, I don't think I would have been able to do that. And hey, my best friend was actually at West Virginia State, and Will Collins. He actually went there. So that played a major role in me wanting to go back to West Virginia State, my hometown.
I want to talk about something that you've been talking about, and I want to hit it, and that is the mental side of being a Division I basketball player, or even being a collegiate player in general. Because you have mentioned a few different times now that you knew at that age that it was hard for you to go through some of the things that you were going through at the collegiate level. And like you said earlier, you did not have that big homie, or you did not have somebody like that to reach out to and just sort of talk about those things. So if you could, for the younger audience, or for the younger student athletes that may be listening or watching to this program, put into words how difficult it is, and the toll that it took on you, and how can one prepare for collegiate basketball if they are wanting to pursue college basketball?
Man, I'm really I was kind of big on, man, like, I could save everybody. Like, that's just my approach, how it was. Like, I just feel like I could. And a lot of things hit reality to me, like these last couple years, man, of you giving some people opportunities and they take advantage of it. And when the side of it shows like that they wasn't going to be prepared for this, you could tell, man, at a young age, if a kid really wants it. Of them going to the gym by themselves, just the way they carry themselves, the things that they talk about in their off time or their downtime without basketball. You could tell of being around the youth for a number of generations, and some of these guys actually, like I said, Derek Pitts of actually going to what and doing what he did. Teran Rush actually going to he might get drafted next week. So, and I've been hands-on with him. He's always had my number, played through with the program for Mayo. And outside of any of all that, like I grew up with his family. So I seen him from a young age grow up and actually get there. And then even through my nephew, my family, Daquan Miller, with actually following my lead, working out with me every day, getting cut from GW his senior year, from a number of different reasons or whatnot, and him keep pursuing to get to Missouri State, man, was an honor of what I took pride in, man, of being that big uncle to him. And also, like I said, that guy that he could talk to when practice ain't going right or some things off the court. Him actually having a baby when he went out there, and me actually coaching him through it, man, stick it out. Whatever you need, we're going to make sure that you get it. We're going to make sure that this work out. But, hey, man, it's a lot on the line or whatnot. When you leave that, when I left Nebraska, it was a lot left too, to where, I mean, it would be, hard to make it from West Virginia State to the NBA than you being at Nebraska and making it to the NBA. So that grind, the off the court stuff though, man, like what comes with it. From girls, from the responsibility in it of you being where you supposed to be at that time, study hall, film sessions. It's tough, man. Whenever you get there, man, if you do got some free time, man, it's tough to not just want to be get some sleep when you on that D1 level, man. It's a lot of responsibilities that come with it, and I take pride, like I said, with being that big homie and that player that actually went through that grind to give my younger guys, man.
Okay, so we've talked about your time at Nebraska. Let's talk a little bit about your time at West Virginia State. You all win the WVIAC your first season there with them. You averaged well over 20 points, 5 assists a game that first season with the Yellow Jackets. But looking at that first season for you, that had to have been a homecoming feeling and a homecoming season for you. So what was the response from not only your teammates, but just from the coaching staff, having somebody like yourself that has Division I experience to ultimately be able to be a key contributor in your first season with West Virginia State? What was that like for you?
I say it was, at first it was kind of a shell shock to where I'm used to coming from Nebraska. I got a new pair of shoes every game. I got a new pair of socks every game. I got a new headband every game. After every game, I'm throwing my headbands in the stands to people, or you feel me, you kind of giving your shoes away and stuff like that, to where you gotta go buy your own shoes, or you got a trash can as your laundry basket. So Coach Portnoy made it home for me of doing different things for me to keep me ground level and eye level and a lot of things, and it just got to the point though to where it's way bigger than just the game of basketball. It's more so, hey, my bad. I'm doing an interview right now, okay? I'm doing an interview. Niece, go back upstairs for a minute, okay? Okay. And I'm coming right back. I'll be up there in a minute. You go outside and I'll drive my car? Yeah, you can ride your car. You're going to drive your car. That's what she want to do. She want to drive that car, man. I'm in a minute, I promise you, okay? But yeah, just that, man, just being around family too, man, on a daily basis. That helped out a lot. Like I said, Coach Portnoy did a good job of, like I said, making it feel home for me. But as far as that was kind of the biggest change of just kind of what we got as equipment and kind of your gear and stuff. That was kind of the big change in it.
A couple more about your time about West Virginia State, then we'll talk about what you're doing now and what I mentioned earlier with Fineo and with Second Avenue. So we'll hit that in just a second. But my first question in regards to your time at State, I want to talk about your relationship with Coach Poor, because you mentioned a few minutes ago about how he was not afraid to come to you on the West Side and have that one-on-one interaction and that one-on-one meeting with you as well. So put into context for us, because you didn't play for State your first 2 years, but then you ended your career with them. Talk about that relationship with you and Coach Poor. How much of an influence has Coach Poor had on your life now, and what was it like back then?
As a player, actually playing for him, and this is as a player, hey man, he done a number of things for me to change my life. So I will always have the utmost respect for him. I've never disrespected him. I've never came out my mouth and talked bad about him. But I would state this, and if you can hear me out and don't put words in my mouth with the people that is listening and hear on what I'm saying, I wish I would have never coached with him and just had that feeling that I did have as a player. I think at this point in my life, I'm big on relationships. I'm big on it's not how you say it. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So I'm big on that, and this respect that I give out. I don't care what type of moment it is, what type of situation it is. I'm gonna always be ground level when it come down to that respect level. I'm not gonna get too high to screaming and yelling and cussing and all that. That's just not me. That's who I am as an individual. So, like I said, as the player, man, hey, he laid it out for me. He made sure that I was comfortable, and it was similar to, a D1 life that he could possibly do, or whatnot. But like I said, I'll be honest. I wish I would have never coached with him.
Expand on that. Expand on that before I ask you my last question about State. Expand on that. So you're obviously mentioning the differences between playing for him and coaching with him. At what point did you realize that?
Early, really early. But when I committed to something, I wanted to finish. So after my first year, I knew that this wasn't gonna last long. But me being me, I'm the type of person, like, if I'm gonna be in and it wasn't a bad environment or anything or whatnot, because I'm not going to allow it to be a bad environment. I'm going to always bring the fun out of it. That's just on who I am as an individual. So I made sure that I made the most out of it. Like I said, I got my degree. I'm 7 hours away from getting my master's degree. So it was a win-win. So it wasn't like that. It was just I went there and didn't learn anything. And I did learn a lot of, hey, if I go back into this coaching thing, I got to be the head coach, and that's just on where I stand at with it. I actually kind of turned down a job at Charleston Catholic. He actually called me and wanted me to take over the program, but at the time, I just didn't have it. I just didn't want to go that route of being a head coach, and I got a lot of things out of coach though of coaching with him, but just the relationship side of things, man, like it just. I don't think it could ever be fixed either. I'm not willing to want it to be fixed. There's no bad blood on no levels of anything. It's an understanding on his side, and it's an understanding on my side. I don't do well with disrespect, and I don't care what type of mad you get, what you're going through in your life. You would never get a disrespectful side out of me. And you can ask him. I left in peace. Nobody even knew that I left, and I made sure that I wasn't going, because I love the school. It's way bigger than, Brian Poor, the things that I did in 2 years and accomplished with some of them guys. Them is long longevities of like guys I still talk to like on a daily now at West Virginia State, man. So it's no bad blood. I always be a diehard West Virginia State alum. And like I said, I graduated from there. So it's way deeper just than a basketball, and the relationships I got with, a number of different teachers, a number of, different people that just loves West Virginia State basketball, though, man. That's the beauty in it to me, like what was left. And I think whenever I got there, I think it was kind of crumbling. And I think I put it on the right track. Not just saying I did that, by myself, but just of giving that love back to West Virginia State. I think I helped get them to even where they at today, of some of them guys I recruited.
I've known Coach Poor now for about going on 2 years now. And I can tell from afar that it seems like he tries to create a family environment for the players. And obviously you are a part of that family relationship and that family bond within that team in your collegiate career. But when you look at what you learned as a player, being able to play for Coach Brian Ford, who does a tremendous job at State, when you look at what you did and learned from the Yellow Jackets during those few years, what do you apply from your playing career in that short span to what you are now as a father and as a family man, as you have talked about numerous times?
Um, West Virginia State as a whole, though, man, is it's a family. It's a family atmosphere. Just in the classroom, like I said, I was in Nebraska, and it might be 500 people in one class, so where you never get to talk one-on-one with the professor or whatnot. Or if you set up a meeting, hey, your meeting might be 2 weeks from now, where y'all learning something totally different than what you got a question about. So of just having that aspect of it, as being a player, of being maybe 15 to 20 people in your class, you get one-on-one attention. You got to ask to go use the bathroom. I mean, stuff like that, to where, like I said, it was more so of a high school setting, but more so of a family setting too, to where, like, if you miss class, they might email you, hey, man, where was you at? Well, this is what we learned today in Nebraska. Hey, you missed class. They might not even know, and let alone send you an email on what you missed. So on that side of it, I say, man, the family side of things, man, is always there. And like I know, people running their families, everybody do it differently. That don't necessarily mean his way is wrong. That don't mean to say my way is wrong. But it comes back down, like I said, man, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. If that can go into so many words of being on the coaching side of things, I'm just a respectful person, man, when it comes down to anything on all levels.
I want to talk about the travel team with Mayo. I want to talk about very briefly the Second Avenue League. But before I do, you are the head, or you created this program that it's called Now or Never Exposure Basketball. And what this is you guys had an event a few days ago, especially it was last week even. So we're recording this on April 25th, so it would have been the 21st last week. So you guys, you reached out to me, you said, hey, can you push it out? I said, absolutely. Did it for you all. And then I look, and you guys had four seniors show up. And I want to read something from your Facebook post. I think is very powerful, and I want to talk about it. You said, all I can do is lead you all to the water. And you've mentioned a few times now about how big you are in regards to player development, making sure these guys have an opportunity to showcase their abilities on a stage. And you did that. And I applaud you for that. Talk about your event coming up in June, okay? You guys are doing an event at Charleston Catholic, June 18th, and it's for high schoolers, but talk about it. Push out as much information as you want to. It's open for you. Talk about it.
I think the issue on that, it didn't get promoted as much, and I did get my hands on it late, to where, like, now I am going to be the one that's going to make this go. And I actually did this at West Virginia State, and we actually got two guys out of it, of having a somewhat exposure camp at West Virginia State, but it was more so like of unsigned people from JUCO and even high schoolers, to where, I mean, it was almost 60 something people come. Now, maybe 40 of them that, man, I was like, I wish I would have looked at some film first, but the insight of it, of promoting that and seeing that people actually just want one opportunity, that always kind of been in the back of my head. So the connections that I got with some of the coaches, the people that I know, guys that I done played with, the connections that they have got, I just know that I can pump this even farther when it comes down to come down to next year or whatnot, and really getting the word out and building old relationships with coaches that recruited me. I've talked to over 150 coaches in this last week, of some of these coaches reaching out to them and, hey, this is coming up. Can you tell me more information on it? So from JUCO, the NAIA, the D1 coaches to prep schools. Man, it's been a number of prep schools that reach out to me from Massachusetts, from even California. It was a guy reached out from California. It was like, man, we're trying to get more East Coast players to want to come out here to the prep school. So the response that I got back, it was good. And my intentions wasn't to knock or down any of the players or any of the coaches or anything. If you would have told me that it was an exposure camp in my own city, and I was trying to pursue that in basketball, playing AAU basketball as an unsigned senior, if that exposure camp was in Morgantown or Montgomery, if it was in West Virginia, oh, I would have been there. If it was $500, I would have scraped that up in like the hour of just wanting to pursue. But that was just me. That was just the drive that I had towards the game of basketball. And I always had to leave to get some exposure. I did way less at Harmony Prep than I did at Capital. And the Clemsons, the Virginia Techs, the Tennessees, all was knocking and calling my phone, man. So just the understanding, man, of just trying to put a different outlook for these kids and actually bringing the coaches here. And if they don't necessarily come to this event, they can watch it on my live feed, to where I think that's big. And just trying to use social media to the highest point and the highest level, to where we got video productions on board now, to where I don't got to be using my phone or whatnot. And so just taking it on that level too, man, that I'm actually using my own money to make this work though, man, and seeing how big that it can be. I'm willing to do that for my guys.
Okay, so Fineo, so the phrase is failure is not an option. Where did this team idea come from, and where did that slogan come from as well?
Man, it actually came from a couple of us in Nebraska, man, of some of my players. J.R. Strobridge, you can Google him. He's one of the main reasons that I ran with it and started up the program. And Sack Henry. Sack Henry is a well-known household name from L.A., and I actually got to play with them guys in Nebraska or whatnot, and just kind of sitting around, chilling and coming up with different things and this, that, and the third. And hey, FINAO kind of came up, man, and it stuck with me ever since 2007, man. And I've been with it of living by it, for one, like just not letting failure be an option, and how my life been set up of just having so many obstacles to come over and get over, of being, what's the chances a 5'6" guy from the west side of Charleston, hey, playing in the field house against the number one team in Kansas, man. Hey, so just things like that, man, the kind of, when you reminisce about it, man, it kind of put chills coming down my body, man, because I really don't reminisce about it a lot. But then when I'm able to talk about it, me and my dad have a number of talks, man, I don't normally give this out, man, to too many people, man. But I'm a fan of your show. I backtracked it, man, and seen, man, you a true guy. You stand on what you stand on. There's no filter when it come down to things, and you tell it how it is, and not try to create a story that's not. So that's one thing that I did backtrack before even accepting this. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I backtracked you. So hey, it's a pleasure, man, of being on this show though, man. I definitely appreciate you with reaching out, man, and me kind of reminiscing about the old days, man. I like this, man. I don't really tend to do this often or whatnot, but when I do, man, it kind of, like I said, it kind of make me emotional too as well.
Well, my man, I'm gonna let you get out of here because I hear your daughter's calling for you. So it seems like your evening is packed already. Seems like I hear a toy car is in the mix. Hey, I'm gamed with that. I like it. I'll let you get out of here. But my man, I appreciate your time. It was a pleasure and honor to speak with you. I really do appreciate all your stories and insight on the game of basketball, especially on the West Side as well. So, hey, man, much love. Thank you so much.
Hey, man, thank you. And June 18th, that will be the next part of the unsigned seniors, but it's also open to up and coming 8th graders, 9th graders, 10th graders, and 11th graders. So I think this will be big on trying to kind of pushing the issue of getting your son's name out there and getting your daughter's name out there. We actually got girls as well. So that's actually what I'm doing now on an off day. I'm setting up just a format of what it's going to be, the outline of it, of all of it. So that's how my off day going to be. I'm going to enjoy the day. And once these kids go down, man, hey, it's a sit back in the chair, got my computer up, and just trying to create something different for my guys coming up. And this is for everybody all over the world. So it's not just entitled for West Virginia. The last one was just for my West Virginia guys, man. And like I said, the promotion could have been better. It should have been better. And I take fully responsibility of it. And that's cool. But I'm gonna make sure that this next one that comes up, man, I make sure that the promotion get out there and hopefully, hey, you can help me out as well, man.
Hey, man, I'm always here for some help, so I'll be more than happy to.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Well, my man, thank you so much for your time, and I'll definitely talk to you in the not so distant future.
Yep, man. Thanks, man. Hey, man, this for life, man. You got a friend, man.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
All right, that will conclude episode 104 of Hoops Across the Mountain State with our terrific guest, Cookie Miller from Capitol High School, went on the plate in Nebraska, and then West Virginia State as well. You can follow me on Twitter at Taylor_Kennedy7 for all the latest about this podcast, and I will also help Cookie down the line as well, promote this June 18th event at Charleston Catholic High School, so be on the lookout for that down the road. Also, subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube as well. And as I keep saying to you all, this summer is going to be big for this podcast, so you will definitely want to subscribe and keep up to date with me on social media because, believe me, it's takeover summertime, and I'm here for it, so let's get going. So thank you all for listening. I'll see you all next time on episode 105.